have control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off. How's it going? Long time no see. It's been at least 4 days since you watched me talk about something on the YouTubes, and for that, I am thankful. We are stepping away from me doing as much IFAC stuff because I've gotten out some Stop the Bleed information. Though if there is something specific you would like to see me cover, please reach out and let me know, and I will do it for you. But today we're going to take a look at another one of those uncomfortable truth videos that I kind of made my name on. And this is going to be volume 2 of Uncomfortable Truths of Gunfighting. When I wrote the first gunfight video, there was so much information that I wanted to put in there. But I really wanted the first one to kind of be anecdotal and the second one to be really, really, really just kind of hard to stomach on some of the things that are in this video. So, warning, some of this might make you uncomfortable. It may not. I don't know. So, here we go. Gunfights, Volume 2, Uncomfortable Truths. Number 1, my 380 was 6 rounds. We'll get it done. Okay, I covered this a little bit in the first one, which is you don't need extra ammo. Here's the deal, though. Gunfights are a true blue, run what you brung, open division shooting competition. That is what gunfights are. You do not get second place, man. There is no second place. If you don't win, you don't breathe anymore. That's your stakes. There's no trophy, there's no placard, there's no nothing. If you win, you get to live through it, go on about your day. If you lose, you don't get to do that anymore. It is a true blue, open division shooting competition on the streets that you didn't even know you were a part of until it started. Do not handicap yourself by carrying these itty bitty tiny like car armed CW 380s because it's convenient. We're clear. This is convenient. Not everybody can carry this. I understand. I will tell you, with a proper holster, it's much easier. But maybe this isn't what you carry. Maybe you need to run like a G48 or a 43X. But it is a true blue open division. In much the same way you would not go into an open division shooting competition with an iron-sighted gun that just you weren't very accurate with, you probably would not, if you would not pick your little tiny pocket pistol to shoot a shooting competition on purpose with, I probably wouldn't be carrying that as my self-defense firearm. It's food for thought. Again, gunfights are open division. Run what you brung. You need better stuff. I will give credit where credit is due. Gun sights are open division. I jacked that from Mr. Chuck Pressberg over at Press Check Consulting. Great dude, solid guy, really good information. But I love that because it really conveys what it actually is. Number 2, I gotta have this new widget. I am guilty of this. By the way, I gotta have this new widget, this thing. I gotta have this thing on here because I'm gonna post this guy on the internet. I'm gonna get instant internet crowd. I'm gonna flex. Nobody else is coming to your gunfight, man. I'm not gonna be there. Nobody else is coming to mine. So if nobody's coming to your gunfight, but I could care less what you have. What's more important to me is that what you have is reliable, functional, hits what you aim at. You shoot it very, very well. These are things that I want for you. I could care less of how much internet credit it gets you. And you shouldn't either. Because again, ain't nobody else coming to your gunfight, man. You better have this figured out and not be doing things for that. Because if you did all this really cool stuff and it made your stuff unreliable, right? Don't do things for internet clout. Nobody's coming to your gunfight but you. If it works for you and you love it, it ain't stupid and it works for you. That's most important because you're the one that's got to use it. Number 3, no luck, all skill, baby. That's BS, man. I'm going to tell you right now, luck is the best things you can have going for you in any kind of a fight. Don't believe me? Ask any military buddy you got that got into any kind of a contact overseas. Ask them how important luck was. we will all tell you that it is much better to be lucky when you go through the door of that house than it ever is really good and to have solid tactics. Solid tactics are great. Luck makes sure Murphy doesn't get you, right? Because all this other stuff we can account for. But Murphy is coming to your fight, whether you like it, invited him, thought he didn't know where you were, doesn't matter. He is going to show up to your fight and he is going to kick you in the teeth. Luck is awesome. Better lucky than good, better lucky and good. But this whole no luck, all skill, baby. BS. I'll take all luck, all skill. I'll take all luck and good skill. Like, just luck is important, man. But it's, yeah, don't fall into that. Here's the thing: there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in fights, and luck is a prime thing to ensure you don't die in the middle of it. Oh, I love this. So fast, man. Out of my I'm just jacking stuff up. I'm so fast. My hands are so fast. That's cool, man. I've never seen a stationary fight. Not since really, like, the days of yore, the Revolutionary War, Civil War, where like you stood in a line and shot at each other. That was some ballsy stuff, man. Stand in this line, point at that guy over there. You're gonna shoot at them, they're gonna shoot at you. Whoever kills the most people first, we win. There is a reason that we had like the Rangers and all this other stuff, and like the original Minutemen fought unconventional warfare, because unconventional warfare is a really good way to beat a slow moving conventional force. A prime example of unconventional warfare being used against conventional forces right now, we can witness it, is drones in the Ukraine. Yes, that is now becoming a common part of our landscape. But the first guy that attached a freaking hand grenade to a drone and figured out how to drop that thing, that's brilliant, right? That is terrifying also. But the fact that it's terrifying is what makes it so brilliant. There's no such thing as a stationary gunfight. Get that out of your head. You're not going to just stand there and engage. There is a lot of moving parts that go on in a gunfight. Number 5, and this is probably one of my favorite statements I've ever heard. I have no idea where I got it from. I would love to take credit for it, but it's not mine. Gunfights are high-speed death chests. They're over in seconds that last an eternity. And you have the absolute rest of your life to figure it out. Now, what do I mean by that? Gunfights are absolutely high-speed death chests. They are a weird strategy game of you trying to get an upper hand over somebody who is determined to take you down. So now you have to beat them at what they're trying to do you at, and it all happens very rapidly in seconds. I will tell you, as somebody that's been in his share of fights, everything kind of slows down, man. Like 3 to 4 seconds takes like 3 to 4 days. At least it feels like that. At least you had an hour, could have gone to lunch or something. But it feels like it takes forever. You see everything. But that is what a gunfight is. Gunfights are a high-speed death chest that are over in seconds that last for eternity. And here's the thing. You do have the rest of your life figured out. We used to make that joke all the time. We'd fall out of perfectly good airplanes in the Army with static line shoots. Not sure how we ever thought that was a great idea. Anyway, so as you fell out of planes, if you had a chute malfunction, you have the rest of your life to figure it out. Either you figure it out and you don't go, or you burn in, man. And that's, maybe somebody got it on film and it was spectacular. But I've seen enough Humvees that chutes didn't open on. Yeah. High-speed death chest, man. That is what a gunfight is. Make no mistake about it. So, number 6. There is absolutely no pause button in any fight I have ever seen. I've already told you that when we fight, the bad guy goes first because we're good people. We are not trying to do harm. We are there simply because we're trying to live our life. But we will be sure that nobody does harm to us or others around us. But you don't get to pause it. You don't get to be like, whoa, wait, crap. Where's my other magazine? You didn't know. There is no pause button on a fight. That high-speed death chest thing, that's a real thing, man. There is no pause button. You don't get to stop the timer. You don't get to, like, car. We don't get to do any of that. If you know what that is, you're thankfully one of the feral generation that played in the streets and came back when the street lights came on. But there's no pause in a gunfight. Be observant about what's going on around you. You being observant will ensure that you don't need the pause button and fight with a purpose when you fight. Be observant, fight with a purpose. Man, I'm tired. Hold on a second. If you lose, you cease to be in the gene pool. I would much rather you fight with a purpose. Fight like the third monkey on the ramp at Noah's Ark and it's starting to rain, man. Fight for all you're worth. No such thing as a fair fight, man. Third monkey, that crap. Fight for all you're worth, but be observant to your surroundings because that can tip you off a lot of times as to what's going to happen next. There's always an indicator of some kind. Number 7 carries a $3,000 handgun with less than 500 rounds on it. Or buys their gun with the holster, leaves the store, and immediately starts carrying it without shooting it at all. So, unvetted gear and tactics will get you killed. 100%. Unvetted gear and tactics. Pay attention, y'all. This is important. Unvetted gear and tactics will get you killed. In a fight is not the time for you to try this combat role you've always wanted to do. That is not when you do it. When the acorn hits the car and you barrel roll back behind the car, that's not the time for you to barrel roll behind the car. That was wild. And if your gear isn't vetted, and when I say vetted, I mean you better have shot that thing, man. Like guns aren't even viable to me as something I will carry. I've gone over this in like real cost of building a concealed carry handgun where I actually talk about this specific handgun and what was happening to it. And I go through my round process to make sure that that is a viable option for me to carry in self-defense. You need to have standards that your stuff has to meet. And your standard shouldn't be, I have it. That's no, right? That's like the standards for the greeter at Walmart. Breathing. Thank you, Rodney Carrington. Unvetted gear and tactics will get you killed. Do not decide to barrel roll or Hondo roll the first time in a fight ever. You've never even done it before. You're going to break your neck, and then they're going to rob you. Unvetted tactics, unvetted firearms get you killed. Number 8, if you are in a fight, except for very, very, very few circumstances, and this is true pretty much universally across the board, except for a very few circumstances, and you're in a fight, you've already failed. And I say that not to say you suck, but sometimes you do suck. But realistically, avoid places that you shouldn't be. Be vigilant. Sit with your back to a wall facing the door at a restaurant. Watch people's hands. Hands hurt people, right? These are little things that buy us fractions of seconds, and those fractions of seconds add up to us winning. Right? You sitting with your back to a wall facing the door, if somebody comes in intent to do harm, or they come in and everything is off about their body language, you can observe that, see that, be vigilant, and be ready to respond to it. Now, don't preemptively strike. Again, remember, we're good people. We don't get to go first, but nobody said we can't be watching that situation and know that we're going to have to go if they start. The important part is they have to start. Don't get up there and tell them that Miss Chloe told you in a psychic vision that dude was about to knock over that Olive Garden. Okay, that is not the answer. Be vigilant, be observant, mitigate your own circumstances when you can. If you wouldn't go somewhere in the daytime, don't go there at night. Odds are probably not any better, probably much worse. Don't go places you shouldn't be. Don't put yourself in dumb situations. Because those situations, you're there because you suck at all of your preemptive stuff. Number 9. It is said in combat that a man's brain turns to water, runs out of his ears, and he functions purely on instinct and training. That is true. Not that your brain literally runs out of your ears. You will never, ever, ever, and I've said this before, you will never, ever, ever get better in a fight. You're not going to suddenly rise to the level of a grandmaster shooter if you couldn't put 5 rounds together on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper at 5 yards. You're not going to suddenly dome this person from 25 yards away. It's not going to happen. Sure, you might get lucky. You also might miss 7 times and take out 7 people that had nothing to do with the badness you were involved in that time. You're never going to get better in a fight. You will, however, regress to your highest level of effective training. Meaning, if you are a consistent 2-second build drill guy, every single time it's 2 seconds or slightly less, you can pretty much bank on the day that If the time comes and build drill needed to happen in real life, you're probably going to shoot that about 2 seconds because that is your highest level of effective training. You are not going to suddenly run a sub-second build drill if you've never done it before, right? If you've never hit a target at 25 yards, if you've never hit that 3x5 note card at 25 yards, you are not going to hit it on your first round, cold from the holster, with like all the adrenaline kicking your butt. You are not going to do it that day. If you've never sub-second drawn a gun in your life, you will not sub-second draw then. Odds are you're going to go too fast and you're going to end up throwing the gun at them, which could work in your favor. They could also just catch it and like Bruce Lee you. You're never going to get better in a fight. You will only be as good as your highest level of effective training. You can find courage. John Wayne said courage is being scared to death and then doing it anyway. There is a high likelihood that you may find in yourself a very, very deep well of resolve where you are okay with whatever happens to you, provided you win. And that can happen because you'll never know that exists unless you're put in that position, but you'll never get better in a fight. Number 10, never, ever, ever assume that the person that you are about to fight or are fighting wants to live. That's really true. Never assume that they want to live. Fights aren't over until they're over, right? If you wing a dude hits the ground, unless he's cuffed up and has no access to anything, and the cops are picking him up, your fight is not over yet. If he has ceased all normal function of life on the floor because part of his Roblox character is missing and stuck to the wall, and he is not functional anymore, he is done, and you have now won. But assuming that making that assumption that I'm gonna draw this out and be like, hey man, stop, I'll do it, right? Here's the thing, you assume that they care. And here's the other part of that. It's not that they don't care. They just don't think you're going to do it sometimes. Fact, it happened. True story. Happened not far away from here. Guy was followed by another individual. That individual was having words with that person. They showed up at the house. That guy drew his Glock 21 and 45 ACP and kind of had it out the window, assuming incorrectly that the mere presence of that firearm in that situation would de-escalate the situation. How he thought drawing a firearm would de-escalate the situation is beyond me. Verbal judo does that. But it did not work. That person exited the vehicle and was shot 9 times with 45 ACP. Not just any 45 ACP, but Underwood loaded gold dots, like hot 45 ACP plus P stuff. That dude took 9 rounds of it. He did cease, but he did not cease immediately. And if you had thought incorrectly, which this guy did, that the mere presence of a firearm was going to render that situation over because that guy was going to believe he was serious and he cared more about living than he did arguing or being in that fight at that moment. Because you have to understand something. We are not exactly dealing with the pinnacle Mensa society of people usually when we start talking about street crimes. But that is a real thing. That's a very real story. It happened. The person that did the shooting is in prison for the rest of his life. So it's a very real thing. Also, don't send text messages that you're going to shoot somebody, because they definitely use that against him. Fact. Okay. Bonus point number 1 for you folks today. Winning or losing a fight happens before it ever starts. Whoa, that one's going to hurt somebody. If you are not absolutely steadfast in your resolve and ready to do whatever needs to happen, you will not win that fight. Much like conversations I've had at classes I've taught where the lady said she wanted to shoot him in the leg because she didn't want to kill anybody. Okay. If we are employing this, we are aiming to stop whatever the threat is. What is an effective? Fill it out in your own sheet at class. Don't yell it out loud. Don't yell it at the computer. What renders threats inoperable? I didn't want to actually do it. You should not have a gun because they're going to take it away from you and use it on you, or worse, take it from you and then use it on someone else. I would have a hard time with that myself, knowing that I had the firearm that I drew, was unprepared to do what needed to happen now that I'd drawn it. They took that firearm and now used it to hurt other people. Whoa, that would be a hard pill to swallow, especially as somebody who has always seen himself as the person that stands between bad people and good people. Um, it's a fact. If you are not ready to do this, your fight is over before it ever starts. Before you ever got into a fight, the fight that you may get into 6 years from now, if that is your mentality, you have already lost because you will not do anything about it. Bonus point number 2, most street crimes, not all, most street crimes are committed by people with an addiction problem. Now, I don't know how many people have actually had experience with people that are hopped up on narcotics or illicit drugs. There is a very real chance that that person may think you are something else, like a wolf, or they may think you're the devil. Whatever's going on in their brain isn't reality. And that's what drugs tend to do. Also, another fun part, if you get a dude that's like super cranked out on a whole bunch of stuff, you firing a couple of rounds into that specific Roblox character is probably not going to stop it at all. There are tons of videos of people high on certain kinds of illicit drugs that were shot 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 times. Let me guess, it was a 9 mil. No. There was one like 3 months ago. The dude took 12 rounds of 45 ACP federal HST, and these were good shots. But he was so wired out of his mind that his vascular system had constricted to the point he wasn't bleeding. That's a real thing that happens too. This dude took it, hit the ground, decided, I ain't done with the badness I'm doing, got up and walked off and 8 more rounds walking away. It took like 21 rounds to put that guy actually down. It's a real thing. You have to also understand that if they are hopped up on drugs and now they are fighting you and you have wounded them, what happens if you wound a feral animal? Because make no mistake about it, people that are all hopped up on some of these drugs are feral. If you wound somebody that is feral and you have backed them into some kind of a corner, what do cornered and wounded animals do? That's right. They fight. They go third monkey on you. You need to understand that. Don't be like, boom, boom. That's it, man. Freedom said over 250 grains, we're good. I said most of the time, you need to be like, do, oh crap, do, whatever you got to do. Because at that point, it is them or you. And I would much prefer, in this hypothetical Roblox situation, that you not lose. So that's a fun fact. You don't see many Mensa society people committing street crimes. Just not really a thing. Bonus point number 3, fights are absolutely nothing like any movie or video game that you have ever seen. Guns will malfunction. You will miss. People don't want to believe that, but you will miss. You will run out of ammo. You will drop your magazine. I have seen this before under so much stress as a shot timer, where we said, draw and go, and they came out and said, and dropped their magazine right out of the gate. And they were not ready for that. They were like, and they stared at it like they were like it had just grown horns and it was talking to them. Like they were completely lost by what had happened. You will drop your mag. That can happen. You can cause a malfunction. You may pull it out, rack the slide. You could do all kinds of stuff. You can crap your pants. You may not be able to hear anymore. You can tunnel vision. That's a very real thing. Like everything kind of comes in and vision scope narrows in. Actually, that was one of the original reasons for the sweep that you see a lot of like the super cool high speed operator dudes doing on the range. Or we're doing the sector scan. A lot of that sector scan actually came from the fact that it would break the tunnel vision of an extreme adrenaline rush. True facts. And you might, at the end of this, be shaking like a dog that's crapping out razor blades. Real thing, man. Like adrenaline is, woo. You may not even get to the end before that starts taking place. Fights are dirty. Fights are nasty. They're ugly. And the only rule in fights like this is whack. WAAC. Whack. Win at all costs. So, guys, let me know what you think. Tell me some uncomfortable truths that maybe you've heard in the bottom, things that shocked you, things that if you've ever been into a fight, glad you're still with me, maybe you didn't realize until after it was over with. Maybe some things you wish you'd known going into, because maybe, maybe you can help another person in here that maybe this didn't resonate with, but what you have to say does. That's what the comment section's for, guys. I may not respond to everybody because I get a lot of comments, a lot of emails, a lot of messages on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, I do try to respond to everybody. I do send out information and help and all these things I can. I do my best to help you as much as I can. Again, if you want to support the channel, take a look down in the description box. Follow that link tree. We added Palmetto State Armory because they do really cool things like sell Surefire X300 turbos and ultras for like $215 sometime, and that's a really good way to get your cheat gun out of the way as one of the ones for the year. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself, take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.